One positive number is 1/5 of another number. The difference between the two numbers is 284. Find the numbers. It wants both numbers. Okay, so we got to start with our setup here. So we have x is the first number. And y is the second number. Two letters. We're going to use two equations. So let's grab the first one. One positive number is 1/5 of another. So x is 1/5 times, of means times, right? Of is multiply. So there's your multiply right there. So one number is 1/5 of another number. 1/5 times the other number. Then it says the difference between the two numbers is 284. So the difference between the numbers is 284. So x minus y is 284. Oh, this one has a trick. Yeah, I'm just realizing now the trick. Which one of these numbers is bigger? Can you tell? Like if I subtract two things and get a positive answer, which number is bigger? The number in the front or the number in the back? Which one's bigger?
Front.
Yeah, the number in the front. It's got to be the bigger, right? So the x has got to be the bigger number and the y the smaller, right? That makes sense? If I'm going to write the equation that way anyway, x has got to be bigger. Because when you start with the bigger, subtract, you get a positive answer. Just like if you take 10 minus 3, you get positive 7 because the number in the front's bigger, right? So, okay, so what? Why am I making this big deal? Well, that means you need to be consistent over here, and right now we're not being. What do I mean? Well, what I mean is right over here, if x is really the bigger number, then it can't be 1/5 of the smaller number. Is that making any sense? Am I losing you?
Yeah.
I've got to take 1/5. Let me change my color here. I've got to take 1/5 of the y. Wait, no, the x. I'm getting confused. 1/5 of the x to be the y. There we go. That's correct now. Why? Because x is the bigger number, right? So you've got to take 1/5 of it, right? That's a small part of it to equal the y. This says y is only a small part of x. It's only 1/5 of x, isn't it? Which means y is smaller, which is true to what we said. If you did it the other way, you would get it backwards. You would get it backwards. Maybe I'll show that at the end to be clear. So this is right now. This is now correct, and it won't work the other way. You would get a negative answer. That's why they said positive right there. Anyway, let's go on and solve the problem. If that's still confusing you, I'll show you at the end. So this is the correct way, because in both cases, this says the x is the bigger. The x is in the front here, so it's the bigger, and you're taking a portion of x to be y. So y is only a fraction of x. Yeah, maybe that's a better way to say it. Y is only 1/5 of x. It's only a fraction of x, which means it's smaller, which is true. Okay, so what do you do when you have two equations? Remember what we've learned? Two letters with two equations.
So we had to get one letter alone in the equation.
Right. Get one letter alone in one equation, and then step 2, plug that letter into the other equation. That's right. That's how we have to handle that. Okay. So do you notice that we already have one letter alone in one equation right there? Y is already alone, huh? We've already got it. That's nice. We already have y equals 1/5. I just switched sides, but it doesn't matter. Same thing, right? Y is 1/5 x. That's already alone. That's nice. So let's just plug that in then to the other equation. Let's grab the other equation, bring it on down here. X minus y is 284. And then let's just grab this and plug that in for y right there. Everybody tracking with me? So we get x minus, and what's y? 1/5 x, 284. So this is what we always do when we have two equations. We get one letter alone in one equation, plug that into the other equation. We already had it. Y was already alone in that first equation. So that was nice. Plug that in for y in the second equation. All right, now we're to here. X minus 1/5 x. Remember how we do this? There's really a 1 here. And so we make that, just like we did a few minutes ago, 5/5 x minus 1/5 x, like that. Right? You change the 1 into 5/5. And 5/5 x minus 1/5 x is 4/5 x. Are we good to there? Then how do we finish solving for x? Remember what I do to get rid of the whole 4/5 in one fell swoop?
Do the reciprocal.
The reciprocal yet again. That's right. On both sides, right? And that cancels out the 5s and the 4s, gives us x alone. Use your calculator. This will be 284 times 5 divided by 4, right? You multiply by the number on the top and divide by the one on the bottom. Let's see what we get here. 284 times 5 divided by 4. I'm getting 355. X is 355. Now they want both numbers this time. So that's one of the numbers, 355. I got to go back and get the other. Remember how you get the other? Get the second letter by plugging in. Plugging x equals 355 into any. It's really any equation you want. You can't go wrong. Any equation will be fine. Just plug that into any equation. So just grab any equation you want. So I'm just going to go up and grab, how about y equals 1/5 x? How about that one? That looks nice and easy. So we'll grab y. Whoops. Change colors there. So y is 1/5 x. Grab that, plug it in right there. So y is 1/5 times 355. So just use your calculator, divide by 5 basically, 71. So y is 71, x is 355. We got our two numbers, 71, 385. So up here they want us to put them in. They say increasing order, which means start with the lower one, 71, and then go to the higher one, 71 and 355. Like that. That's what they want from us. And there we go. How are we doing? There's the whole thing if you want to take a picture or screenshot or questions on that one. So again, it was another one of these. Oh, I promised to show the y that wouldn't work the other way, huh? Let me do that for you real quick. So we got the right answer. There it is. It was two equations with two letters. And so you know how to do that. You plug one, you get one letter alone in one equation. It already was. The y was already alone here. Plug it into the other equation right here. Plug in there for y. Then we get this. Solve for x. Multiply by the reciprocal. Got x. And when you have one letter, get the second letter, just plug that into any equation. I plugged into the 1/5 x, got the other one. Now, let me show you why the other method would not have worked. It would have given us negative answers. Let me show you. So if we went back and we said, okay, if we just said, if I switch this, oops, if I switched this, it wouldn't work. If I said x is 1/5 y, if I put the 1/5 over there instead, it wouldn't work because I'm reversing the truth there. So if I said x is 1/5 y, and the other one just kept it the same, x minus y is whatever that was, 284. It wouldn't work in this way. Why? Because here you're saying x is bigger because you're putting x in the front of a subtraction. And here you're saying y is bigger. Why are you saying y is bigger? How am I saying that? Because if x is equal to a fraction of y, then x must be smaller, right? If it's only a part of y, it must be smaller, which means y is bigger. So you're saying reverse truths here. You're saying x is bigger in this equation, and over here, you're saying y is bigger. So what will end up happening is you get the negative answer. Let me show you. So if I did this one, it will be the wrong answer. In case this happens to you, I want you to know what that means. So step one, plug x equals, we'll solve it the same way, 1/5 y into the other one, right? Into the x minus y is 284. So we just, like usual, just grab this, plug in there for x, right? And so we would get, coming on down, we would get 1/5 y minus y is 284. I just plug this in for x right there, right? Right there. Okay, and so then how do you subtract these? Well, you got to make this 1/5 y. This is a 1y, which is 5/5 y, right? Fancy way to say 1. And now that's minus 4/5 y is 284. Okay, now how do we solve for, notice we're getting the negative. How do we solve that? Well, you can multiply both sides by the reciprocal, but you got to use the negative, negative 5/4, negative 5/4. And what that'll cancel the 5s, cancel the 4s, and then the two negatives will make positive, won't they? So that'll be positive y or regular y. Over here, you got to use your calculator and take 284, 284 times 5 divided by 4, but it's going to be negative because there's a negative sign there. So my calculator, 284 times 5 divided by 4, I'm getting 355, but I'm getting negative 355, right? Because of this negative sign right here. Negative 355. And that's not right because up here in the beginning, they clearly stated one positive number. So I'm getting y negative 355. Do you see why that happened? Now, if that happens, my suggestion would be just make it positive because it is the right answer. I mean, what I mean is 355 was one of our numbers, huh? So just go on with the problem, make it positive. Just say to yourself, oh, that means I wrote one of the equations backwards. That's why the math did that, because you told it a backwards fact. You said x is bigger the way you wrote this equation. And the way you wrote this one, you said y was bigger because x is only a fraction of y. So x is smaller, y is bigger. You said reverse things. So the math logically said, oh, well, the only way that's going to be true is if y is negative. That's why it gave you that. Don't sweat it. Just make it positive. Go on with the problem. You'll still get the two answers. So I wanted to show you the whole story there. So that's a challenging problem. There we go.